I had a chance to catch up with Mike Shinoda. When he's not busy producing, rapping, doing his art, he's working on a new Linkin Park record. So I sat down with him, talked to him about that, and we caught up at DC Shoes in Los Angeles, where he told me all about his new shoe that he designed. What's up, Mike? How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. What's happening? This is awesome over here.
Oh, I haven't even seen it yet. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got here this morning and built the display and put all the shoes up and. This is awesome, man. So Vizander, this is the second incarnation of this design?
I've done a few things with DC, and this is the second version of this shoe.
Tell me just quickly about the design, if you don't mind, just kind of the...
I'm half Japanese. A lot of the stuff on this shoe is, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on camera, but there's kind of like in the gloss here, you can see.
Yeah.
It's basically a Japanese, more traditional Japanese pattern. Like when I was a little kid, we'd fold origami and do stuff like that. And
you don't have to be Japanese American to do that. That's what I did growing up. People might think it's just a collector's item. It's not. I mean, you actually have. I was amazed to hear that you had tested the shoe out.
I took these and basically before we kind of put the green light on the first one, I took it out on the road, and I think I wore it for probably half a year more on stages all over the world, and it performed well. So it was by my standards.
If it stood the test of time with a rock star, it's good for anybody. It's made it all over the world.
Yeah, we beat him up pretty good.
It's kicked a few people. First time I met Chuck D, Public Enemy, I just started spitting one of the verses from Burn Hollywood Burn, and he was just looking at me, and I was like, I'm just like this white kid that grew up in the suburb of LA, but in like the late 80s, early 90s, I was heavily influenced by hip hop.
I can relate to that. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. Most of I want to say more than half the kids at my schools were bussed in from all over LA.
Yeah.
It was my understanding was essentially like, areas that were really rough, they would kind of, parents would arrange to or choose to like get their kids out of the hood basically to go up to school in the valley. And all I know is that like more than 3/4 of my friends didn't live in town, they lived an hour away. And yeah, that's how, hip hop basically came to me from my friends. They just said, check this out, they'd pass me a tape or whatever. And the first records I was ever listening to were hip hop records.
Right.
The first two records were Run DMC Raising Hell and Beastie Boys License to Ill.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And at one point, I think one of the first cassettes I was ever handed, like where somebody just like copied a cassette and said, check this out, was a 2 Live Crew tape. And so we were in like 3rd or 4th grade or something, and it was just, I didn't even know what any of the words meant.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
It was like, I'm listening to this stuff, I'm like, what are they talking about? I don't know, but it's so cool.
Tell me about the Transformers thing. It's great.
We just released a song called New Divide.
So give me reason to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean.
We met with Michael Bay and we talked about doing a new song for the movie, and not like, we don't have an album coming out right now. We didn't have a song that we were ready to give him, and he asked if we'd write something. He showed us half the movie unfinished, which was really hard for him to do, because it was so rough. But we were able to look at that and kind of get a vibe from it and write the song.
Linkin Park fans will kill me if you don't just give me a little more on kind of the writing process of the new record and where you guys, all 6 of your heads are at musically.
We're really feeling like we want to make something unique and substantial that has a lot of meat to it.
When my time comes, forget the one that I've done. Help me leave behind some.
Conversation I was having with our bass player Phoenix, and he brought it up and had this crazy analogy that's just perfect. Americans' music appetite is kind of like their food appetite. Like there's just so much junk food out there. There's so much like pop candy music that's like, it's fun in the moment, but it's like, number one, it's not very substantial, and number two, in excess, it will just make you sick.
Right.
You know, it's
That's a
not
great
gonna do
analogy.
anything for you.
You
that
just
re-
described American Idol is like McDonald's.
It just, I mean, it makes us feel like, you know, I mean, not knocking that stuff. That stuff is a lot of fun in moderation, and we've been. I feel like, you know, we've been. We dabble in that sometimes and go in that direction on some projects, some songs, but for sure, we've always had a focus on making stuff that really has some meat to it, some depth to it, and I think we want to hopefully move even further, you know, to make the next record really have some a sound and a lot of meaning that is substantial for people to get something out of.
And that record's gonna come out roughly 2010.
Yeah, sometime next year, I think.
And you'll support the new record with a Project Revolution tour, or
We'll definitely be on tour next year. We're doing a short tour that it doesn't really hit the States this year. We're just doing Europe and Asia, and we're doing like one show here on the West Coast in the States this year, and then next year we'll be doing full-blown.
you playing China again?
This year we are.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, man.
It's good to catch up with you.
Burn